names for those who don't have their cameras on. My name is Hannah Caruana. I am one of the reporting officers for Jordan's Principal Group Request and Choose Life. I've been here for 4 years as of yesterday, which is crazy to think. Prior to that, I was just like Shannon and Ashley, working with you all at Nan Choose Life for a little bit. I think it was about 2 years over there. So it's been lovely to work with all of you for multiple years. It's good to see some happy faces and some familiar faces. I was really excited to see you this morning, Betty. I don't think I've got to see you in a while, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a shout out. But yeah, I'm Hannah Caruana. I'm located in Thunder Bay. So we do have separate caseloads for Choose Life and for Jordan's Principal. So previously, I might have been your only contact or your main point of contact for reporting. We have now switched that. There is 3 of us now for our reporting side. So we have our manager, Sator, and then I also have my colleague, Dion Beardy. So I'm going to hand it off to Dion to introduce herself this morning.
Good morning. My name is Dion Beardy. I am a senior program officer for Jordan's Principal Choose Life Group Reporting. And like Hannah said, I've been working with her for the past couple of years. I'll be here for I've been here for almost 2 years, and it's been great. I enjoy working with a lot of nations and organizations, and I hope to continue working with all of you. Go ahead, Sator.
Okay, thanks, Dion. Good morning again, everyone. My name is Sator Awiye, and I'm the manager for Jordan's Principal, mainly responsible for the reporting team, as Hannah mentioned earlier. I've been in this position for 2 years plus, and I used to work as an assessor back in 2018 for 4 years. So I may have interacted with one or two of you, or some of you in the past. So it's nice to meet everyone today, and hopefully we have a good session today. So thank you. Back to you, Hannah.
Perfect, thank you. So that is our small but mighty team of reporting here in the Ontario region for Choose Life. I don't know if it's okay with you, Shannon, if I possibly take over your share screen. I'm just noting that we're going to go through the reporting overview. So we're going to talk about the due dates for, I spoke too soon, so let's hope my photographic memory doesn't fail me here. We're going to talk about the due dates for the Choose Life reporting. We're going to look at the template for Choose Life reporting. We're also going to look at the sample of what it can look like filled out. Thank you so much. And then we'll talk about nods, reprofiling. We'll look at the sample nod. I know a lot of us are very familiar with the modified budget, but things did switch a bit this year, and we got a lot of nods or notice of decisions out instead of modified budget. So we're going to talk about the differences and the similarities there. We'll look over the reprofiling template and a sample of how to do it. It did change recently. I say recently, probably within the past year or so. And then we'll also talk about the letter campaign. And then we'll kind of open the floor, barriers, solutions. Like I said in the beginning, very informal. This is really an opportunity for us to all get to meet. So as much as we're virtual, I really hope that we can keep the same kind of space as if we were all sitting together at the Norwester or wherever we may be. Or if this was like a one-on-one, like please feel free to put your hand up or unmute and just let us know, or use the chat function for a question if you don't feel like talking right over us or right with us. I'm hoping we've got quite a few on this morning to be able to kind of administer the chat function. So if I miss something, please let me know, but I'll try to be as attentive as possible. Thank you so much, Shannon, for bringing that back up. I definitely forgot the second section there. So the due date for reporting has not changed. Like every other year, it's 120 days past the end of March 31st. So we're looking at July 29th this year. I'm not sure what day of the month that is, but I'll look. It looks like it's going to be a Wednesday. So we have 3 weeks until reporting is due. Like we all know, there are many times and many different things that come up where sometimes you don't have your reporting right in on the 29th. If you are going to have it in right before the 29th or a couple days later, that's totally fine. Send it in when it's ready. If you're looking like you're probably going to need a couple extra weeks, let us know. Just send us an email. We'll be able to document the fact that we're in correspondence. Please feel free. You can even send us a financial statement in the meantime while you're getting your report done. Whatever is accessible to you, whatever information is accessible to you, we are more than happy to work with you through that in order to get them things in. Our biggest concern with the due date is always that if something isn't into GSIMS, that online software where we put all your reporting, and you might hear the word NOR, which is like your notice of reporting requirements, that'll come out, and maybe administration will come down on you and say, hey, you need to get this in. It's because if that sits on your NOR too long, if that line waiting for our report sits too long, it can impact other funding that comes to your nation or to your organization. So it won't hold any of your funding from Choose Life specifically, but if you don't have a report in from us, it might impact what's considered non-essential funding, meaning that other programs in your nation may not receive their funds until you get this report in. So trying our best to be as workable with all the other teams within your nation and within ISK. We do a lot of correspondence internally as well. So other programs will come to us also and say, hey, can you go message them and get that report in? So if you get some extra emails from us, it's probably because we're getting pushed on too to get it in, and we're more than happy to sit with you and get that done, or work with the NAN team and help you get it done together as a group. But main takeaway from there, July 29th, 2026, it's going to be Wednesday in 3 weeks. Please let us know if that date doesn't work for you, and we'll try our best to work with you to find something to get done. From there, I'm going to share screen here, and we are going to look at the template for reporting. I'm going to make sure I have the right screen up here. So I hope everyone has this already. If you don't have it, I think Shannon, you sent it out with perfect. So everyone should have it. If you don't have it, or you might have misplaced it, or you lost the email, just send us a message, send us a call. We can for sure always send it over to you. Like usual, this template has not changed for this year. So you've still got your regular first page, it says your reporting guide. We recommend on this page, write in your First Nation name or your organization name, and then write in the application that this is associated with. So you'd write in, for example, if I was doing Frida's, I'm going to write in Sashago First Nation, and then I'm going to write in Choose Life underneath it. So then, not to out you, Frida, but that's what I would write on the front there. And then I would move down to that next portion for 1A. So 1A, we're very familiar with it. This is where we're writing out those same areas that we would get from either the modified budget or the notice of decision. I'll bring up the notice of decision later as well, just to go over how it's very similar to the way that we would pull from a modified budget. We're still just looking for those headings, right? So the way we would fill this out typically in your service and support section is we're writing out your salaries, your benefits, your training, your travel, your professional services, your networking, your rent, your land-based portion, any other area that you had a subheading on your NOD or your modified budget. We're going to have that subheading here. Then you're going to write out the number of children. Obviously for salaries, rent, benefits, training, we don't need to write out the number of children. So if you went and did mental health first aid training, you don't need to write out the amount of kids that were specifically impacted because you got that training. We totally understand there. You can leave that blank. But for areas like land-based activities, if you tend to want to go into a little bit more detail about which each area costed, that's up to you, or which each activity costed, and how many kids showed up for each one. Feel free to put that information in. But our expectation is that you'll have that main subheading and that total cost. So however that looks in your own accounting or your own financial software when you're working with your finance person, just write that out in here. You can almost go by the exact same way you've got it on your financial statement. The closest your financial statement looks to your annual report makes me and Dion's day a lot easier. So the best way that you've got it, it's going to be easier for you to write it out. It's also going to be easier for us to confirm, and we can get it approved as quick as possible that way. If you're only working with your internal financial statement to get your report done in time for the due date, that's fine. If it changes ever so slightly or largely by the time your audit comes in, all we'll do is we'll just change the areas in this total cost section. That's it. So there could be some very minor revisions about some dollar amounts, but we'll get to that when your audit comes in. It's not something that will go, oh, we're going to leave this on like requires revisions until we get your actual audit in. Your annual report will sit on conditional acceptance if we have the annual report and the financial statement, the internal one. Once we get the audit, we'll accept it. If you only send in the annual report, it will sit on detailed analysis, which I believe detailed analysis doesn't hold funds. They've done a little bit of changes to GSIMS, so if that changes, I'll let you all know. But as of right now, once you have any sort of documentation into us, you shouldn't be holding funds anywhere else. I know I speak really fast, or do we have any questions about that first? Seems like we're good. So I'll move down to that qualitative.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For this report, like, where does it start from? Like the month of March? Like after fiscal year until July?
Yeah,
Or
so
is it
this report is all of the 25-26 fiscal year. So you're looking at April 1st, 2025 to
okay?
March 31st,
Okay.
2026. So I know we used to do, Sator's probably a lot more familiar with that, and some of our long-standing coordinators, where we used to have like quarterly reports or interim reports. We don't do that anymore. It's just your one annual. So we're just going to look at everything that you spent throughout April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026. The qualitative portion. Sorry, go ahead, Stuart.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing. Sometimes due to the delay in the funds being approved, if let's say your approval is late in the fiscal year, maybe January, February 2026, for example, but you do incur some costs during before the funds were approved. All should be inclusive if it's out of the 25-26 application, right? So you could you should include that information in the report as well. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, anything that was spent on the second April 1st started and March 31st ended should be in this report. Regardless of when you got that approval letter, it should be in here. The next portion I'm going to talk about is 1B, so your qualitative information. We've seen before where people will utilize this space to add some photos, challenges, future needs, activities, barriers. Really utilize it however you'd like. We'd like to hear anything that you'd like to share. We'd like to see anything that you'd like to share. I would also recommend the best way to keep this area up here, this chart, the best way to keep this like clean, concise, is let it match your financial statement. And then this area, if you want to do a little chart that says all the different activities that you ran throughout every single month, please feel free to put that in the qualitative section. You don't need to add that to the financial statement section. It'll take us longer to add up everything on the side instead of just having your subtitle and what you spent. If you want to include it in between, that's totally fine as well. We just like to see that this chart ends with your total spent and then your total carry forward or your total deficit. Like those two areas, once I see that at the end here, I know that your financial chart is ended. And then anything else that comes after that, whatever you'd like to share, that's totally up to you. But we don't expect it of you to write out every single thing you did. So go ahead, Sator.
Yeah, just one more thing. We also like to see success materials. So even during the course of your programming, if you have pictures and all the fun activities, all the cultural activities, just send it to us in a separate email, we keep them. We discuss them within the team. So we are happy to receive those types of pictures and information when you can possibly share them with us. So please do that at any time. Just share them with us.
Mhm. Thank you for that. Yeah, whenever you want to send us an email to show us what's going on, we're more than happy to see it. We do a lot of like internally, our roles and even our assessors on our team and our admin staff, we're looking at all of your letters and we're looking at your numbers and we're looking at your applications. We don't always get to see all the smiling faces of the kids or your team and all the successes, right? So it brings a little bit more personality and uniqueness to your applications, but also we get to share in those successes. So that's great. Go ahead, Stora.
Yeah, and one more thing. We've also been within our team. Jody's our senior manager, by the way. So she has us presenting on each. So each member of the team will select a First Nation and do a research on the First Nation and do a presentation on that. So we've been doing that every 2 weeks, bi-weekly basis. So those types of information that I mentioned earlier, the success material and all those things, we could put them all together in a presentation and present it to the team. So yeah, just feel free and share that information. Yeah. Thanks.
I would also like to even, this is not on the agenda, so I'm sorry, Shannon, we're definitely going to go over time a little bit. But even to just extend that invitation as well, like we have, like Sator was saying, we have it's bi-weekly team meetings where we'll present on, what we know, the little bit that we know about your nation to the team to share about just history or programming that we're aware of, geographical location, treaty. We try to share what we know and what we have access to. But if you would like to come to any of these meetings and be able to present on behalf of your nation and show us a little bit about your program and what you do, I think we'd be more than happy to have anyone. So we're not really able to offer like honorariums or anything for people to come in, but if you would like to spend 15 minutes with us to talk about your nation and your program, I think we'd be happy to see that. I think everybody would be.
I have another question.
Yeah,
I'll be coming out to Thunder Bay next week, and I was wondering if I can come see you in person for the other reports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will if you're not busy. That is, I don't know.
Next week is like, when are you? Okay, I'm gonna email you after this, or we can text after this.
Okay.
I'm actually doing. I'm helping out with our treaty team next week, so I'm gonna be in all of our James Bay Coast communities next week, from Monday to Friday. So hopefully, it's like you're coming down and I'm going right up. I'm gonna fly right over, but I would love to. I should be back on Friday if you're still around though. So let me know.
I don't. Okay, it's okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump to this here quickly if everyone can see my screen. This is a filled out template. So when I was talking about those subheadings, those areas that you'll see on your modified budget or on your NOR, or sorry, not your NOR, sorry, your NOD, and then those total costs. This can be a little bit misleading. Just for the example, we have the total costs rounded out because this is something that was created by our team. So we don't have exact expenses here, but we would expect you to have exact expenses. So it wouldn't say 90,000, it could say 46,295. Like it could say whatever it was. It shouldn't say the exact rounded number from your modified budget. Most important thing is that total expense and that unspent amount or possible deficit amount. And then we move into your qualitative portion. So this is a great example. We don't want you to stress out on having to provide tons and tons and tons of information. Your report can be this size. It can be 15 pages. It can be whatever you'd like it to be. So please feel free to include as much as you'd like. And if you want to talk to us about it before you do it, let us know. Okay, so I'm gonna close this in case anyone has any questions. I'm gonna try to filter through to see who's here. But if that works for everybody, I'm gonna close this up and we can get on to that next portion, talking about the nods and reprofiling. That sound okay with everybody? You get some thumbs up, some signs of life, some reactions.
I have a question. So I'm just looking at your it says salaries, benefits, professional fields, staff, travel, respite care, honorary materials, networking. On our books, on our books, these categories, like, we have different ones. Like, it's not like this one. Should we just use what we have?
I would say use what you have. Like, try to match your financial statement as close as possible. If the financial statement is extremely different compared to your modified budget or to your nod, then that's when you might end up having a conversation a little bit closer with Dion. I know that Dion's your reporting officer, so you might end up having a little bit of a closer conversation with Dion just so she can match up each area of your financial statement with the approved areas. But realistically, like, focus on what's easiest for you to get the information in. So if you copy your financial statement and you've got other Q coded areas or other account areas, follow that and then we'll work to understand it. Okay?
Okay, and then my next question is, like, we don't have audited financial statements. Like, they're not going to be ready until like late fall.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's not something that, like, I'm not blown away. Like, it happens. We have a lot of nations and recipients and organizations that might be a couple years behind. They might be right on time. Me and Dion had a little bit of a celebration the other day because we finally got in some new audits for this year and we were like, wow, this is so early. But when they're ready, they're ready. So all that's going to happen is once we get your internal financial statement and your annual report, we'll conditionally accept it. It'll be in the system. When we get your audit, that's when it will get fully approved. It's just that it'll sit for a bit.
Okay, so I could send in our latest internal financial statement.
Yeah.
And then I could send in what I have, like, our expenditures to date.
Perfect. Yeah. The main thing too is we're really trying to find your carry forward amounts as well, right? We want to ensure that we have the right amount, or we don't want to apply a carry forward amount that's foreseen if you actually might be running a deficit, right? We want to make for sure that we're all in good standing on what your financial standing is. So getting that internal financial statement is really important as soon as we can.
So I already know what we're in deficit in. And it's probably our equipment maintenance, which is our vehicles and our trucks and everything, because we've spent, like, our equipment, it's aging, so we've had a lot of repairs done, and it's like every week, so that bill keeps mounting.
Yeah. Colleen, I'm definitely gonna say possibly, like, Dion, maybe we should send an email after this or maybe during this to maybe set up some time to talk with Colleen about that, just because if you've got an overall deficit going, we want to make for sure that you've actually got money right now to be operating. You've run a very good program for many years, so we can talk about recipient focused, like, conversations a little bit later and more just one-on-one.
Yeah, that would be helpful, because I know we're still gonna be incurring costs, like, daily. Like, it's, we do a lot here, so I'm just letting you know.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm just taking a second to read through the chat before we jump into the reprofiling conversation. So I'm just looking through. Betty, I love that you love that opportunity, and I really, really encourage you to send me an email, hopefully, and see if you'd love to come and spend some, like, 15-20 minutes with us. I know that you bring such a beautiful vibe and aura to these spaces. So I think it would be perfect to have you come along if you're interested. Unfortunately, no, we're not recording today. Nice to hear about the Choose Life page, Marla. That's awesome. I will definitely try to add myself to that. And then it can be recorded time, Betty. Okay. Otherwise, I think we're good. Oh, Betty's already gone. She didn't hear my little shout out there, but oh, there she is. Hi, it's nice to see you.
I'm still here. I'm just heading out. And yeah, I think that would be a wonderful opportunity. And I might take you up on your invite. And yeah, looking forward to doing some wonderful things here and meeting new faces, and new team members and stuff. So it's really great. And it's good to see you, Shannon. And I just want to wish everybody a really awesome day. And sorry you have to leave early, but life waits for us. And yeah, so I will just wait for the email for the follow-up, I guess. I'd imagine there'll be some notes. And I'll just skim through those, and then I'll touch base with you, Hannah, if I do have some questions with regards to the party.
Sounds good.
Okay, bon appetit. See you later.
Perfect. So I'm gonna jump into the reprofiling template here. See if it'll share screen. And let me know when you can see it. I'm going to zoom in a bit just so that we can see it a little bit closer. I was going to say too, Dion, do you want me to keep going? Do you want to jump in here? How are we feeling?
Keep going.
Okay. So this is everything for the most part. It's going to say Jordan's Principle across the top. It's still Choose Life. We all know that Choose Life fits under the umbrella of Jordan's Principle. So if something says Jordan's Principle across the top, don't feel like you can't use that template or it's the wrong template. It's still the right one. We just end up using the same ones for each initiative. So this would be your Choose Life 25, 26, 26, 27 now. So we'll get you a different one, but this is just a sample of the reprofile template. So across the top in that one section, you'd write out the community name or the organization name and the project, which is always going to be your Choose Life initiative. Then you're going to get into the actual filling out of the reprofiling. And so this section hasn't changed too much, honestly. The form used to be a lot bigger, and it used to look like you needed to do the whole modified budget in it. Now it's really just about each area that you're going to be moving funds. So for example, in this case, you'd pull the existing budget item. So from your modified budget or from your NOD, you'd write out, in this case, it says mental health counselor and the amount of funding you were approved for that area. Then you're going to look at your new budget items. So where you want to move or reallocate that money to, where it's going to get reprofiled to, where you're requesting. And so in this case, you can really write it down into as many areas as you'd like. Even if you don't, say you get approved for that 60,000 and you only want to move 20,000 of it out. You don't need to move the whole 60. It doesn't need to be just in situations where you're getting rid of a line completely. It's just however much you'd like to move. But for this example, we're moving the whole 60. So they moved it into two different budget items now that are new for youth support workers and then elder honorariums and the amounts there. The comments section here isn't filled out. If you'd like to fill it out, you can. You can provide some rationale as to why. In a case where maybe you're not moving all of the funds, I'd recommend in that comment section writing, I'm only moving 20,000 or I'm requesting to move 20,000. The remainder of the funds will remain in that line. Anything like that. Try to be as clear and concise as possible. Then in this section further down is your rationale area. So you'd write out a little bit as to why you'd like to move these funds. Say you were approved pretty late in the year and you weren't able to run an activity that you applied for. Say you wanted to do a fall harvest and you didn't get your approval until December. I would hope that you still tried your best to run those activities if they are things that you have done previously. But in this case, Say you might have had some remaining funds and you want to move them over to something else, this is your opportunity to do so. It is required for you to send us this documentation or this request prior to doing so. We understand in some situations, closer to the end of the fiscal, you might not have noticed that you went over in an area or you were under in an area. That's okay. But we try to really ensure that in January, you're taking the time to sit with your finance team and see exactly where your budget is. If this isn't something you already do quarterly or maybe monthly, but sit down with them really in January and see exactly where you spent your funds, how it's going, any areas that you may or may not be over or under, and how you'd like to use those funds moving forward for that last quarter. So January, February, March. That's the most important thing. I'd also really ensure that you take the time to work with your finance team to find out how long your contribution agreement is. So there are situations where if your contribution agreement ends March 31st, and say you're projecting to have quite a bit of carry forward, you can't carry those funds forward anymore. That's going to end, and those funds aren't going to be able to be utilized. So we try to really ensure that you're aware of what your contribution agreement dates and deadlines are. So that's what this looks like. Do we have any questions about reprofiling?
Me, I have a question.
Of course.
So, in our budget, it says that we have a salary for a psychiatrist. I don't think we're gonna find a psychiatrist here in Laksu.
Mhm.
And instead of that, could we invest in our current staff, like with more professional development opportunity?
I would say, as of like right now, just because for conscious of time and also under the operational bulletin, I can't really give you specific guidance right now. I would say in that email, Dion, to set up that like follow-up meeting, let's just write a note that we want to talk about reprofiling as well, specifically about those couple lines in professional services. Sorry that I can't give you a clear answer in the moment. I also don't have the jurisdiction. I'm not someone that can put approved on things. You'll see my email, but you won't see my signature. So I'm not someone that can let you know how to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Kristen.
that's just my wish list. Like that would be awesome if we were able to do that.
Of course.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of speak to that too, right? So then that's why we do, and Hannah's suggesting, well, not suggesting, but it is a requirement for this reprofiling to be submitted, because maybe there is something that is restricting within the bulletin, that may not allow those funds to be used on something specific you're asking for. So that's why these reprofiling, templates, and it's important to look at your budget, see where your budget's at kind of throughout the year, just to ensure that those items that you do want to try and spend things on is something that could possibly be approved, right? You don't want to go ahead and spend those funds on something before it gets approved. So that's the whole purpose of, this reprofiling template, to ensure that you can go ahead and that is something that is within scope, and then you're not going to be stuck having spent dollars on something that isn't under scope and not be able to recoup those funds. So I just wanted to kind of that's the reason for this. And yeah, if there's those specific questions and all that kind of stuff, definitely shoot over an email to Hannah or Dion, whoever is your respective reporting officer, and we can also help fill out these reporting or these reprofiling templates as well. If you have questions or concerns, we're more than happy to sit down with you with that as well.
Perfect. So I've kind of switched gears here. I'm just trying to be conscious of time. We've got 15 minutes. This is the sample of the NOD, the Notice of Decision. Like you can see, again, it's really Jordan's principal focus because we're utilizing the same one. But the differences here compared to your modified budget, the main one I'm honestly going to say is it's just not in a chart. That's really the difference. It's not in a chart. And sometimes you'll see, I believe we have changed this internally though, that if you had salaries that were approved and then you might have had salaries that were denied on this, they're not right under each other. So that's a little bit different. On the modified budget, you'd normally see your requested amount, your approved amount, and then whatever amount was either denied or escalated right in one row. The difference here is you have to be a little bit more attentive because it might not be, it's not going to be in the same line. It's going to tell you the requested and the approved. And then underneath it, it should say, in this case, say you had a salary that was denied. Underneath it, it'll say salaries, and then it'll say denied and the amount. But that's really the main differences. I would say up here, this is your usual information that goes with the beginning of your approval letter, kind of that little bit of contribution agreement jargon and what's going on with Jordan's Principle or with Choose Life. And then you get into your actual modified budget or your budget for the year. Really pay attention to the Q codes. It's a little bit different with Choose Life. You should really only be utilizing the one Q code. Well, I know for us, we're only utilizing the one Q code. In some cases, you might have some things where we might bring in something else, maybe it's education or whatever, but for the most part, it's always Choose Life. And that'll be outlined the same way as your modified budget. Something really important, there's two things that I really want to highlight. Appealing a decision, that information is all right here. These links are hyperlinked, so if you ever want to learn a little bit more about how to do that, feel free to click them and do a little bit of your own research, or send us an email. If you get your decision and you have some things denied and you want to know why or you want to talk about them, we're here to do that. The other area that's very, very important is your funding information. So in this section, this is where they're going to outline where the funds came from. So when I was talking about paying attention to your Q codes are these things right here. And so the way the money flows to your nation or to your organization, depending on how the approval is, it might come out of many different pots of ISK money that flows to you as one. So it'll initiate different reporting requirements. It'll be a little bit harder on finance to track how the payments came in. For Choose Life, for the most part, it should just be the one. But if you come into a situation where it's a bit different, please feel free to email us and we'll walk you through it. From there, the really important section is the wording that you're going to see under that chart. So this is where you'll see anything that has to do with carry forwards that have been applied to your approval. Because your approval might say, like up here, you could say you were approved for $500,000, but then down here it could say you're only going to get $90,000. That's because you probably had a carry forward of $410,000, so you're still getting approved for $500,000, but you have money in the account, in the nation or the organization that you got to utilize too. So it's how we put together your finances. I would really pay attention to this section to ensure that you know how much is getting flowed, how much you have on hand, and what your full budget is for the year. The other thing you might see in here is if we didn't get a financial statement from you, or if your reporting is very behind, or we don't have an audit for a couple of years, there's potential that 50% of your funds that you were approved for might not be flowed until we get that information. So that's where you might see some other wording in there. If you have any questions about it at all, please just email us, let us know. We're more than happy to walk it through with you. Sometimes me and Dion don't see your approval letter or your notice of decision until after you also got it. So it'll be news to us sometimes too. So be patient with us to figure it out and let us connect with the people who made those decisions. Otherwise from there, I'm going to close on that. Does anyone have any questions before I do a little bit of a spiel about the letter campaign? We're good? Okay, so I talked about it when everyone was coming in this morning. Currently, we're going through, when did it start? May 25th? Dion, May 25th?
Yes.
Okay. Sador, do you want me to talk about it, or do you want to talk about it?
You're doing an excellent job on that. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. The letter campaign is a headquarters campaign that has come down to us, or an exercise, that has come down to us regarding applications or areas of applications that have been previously submitted from anywhere from 2021 to fiscal year 2024-25. And you may have received a letter that within the letter it might have like ISK numbers. Well, it will have ISK numbers and then the name of the initiative that they're requesting some information on. And so what happened is that potentially either your entire application or lines in your application were escalated to national review and then they were not decisioned. So what that means is you got a letter that said, although when you got the original approval or the escalation, it said this is going to go to national review for a decision. Maybe you never heard back from them. This is you now hearing back from them. So they're saying, hey, you have 3 options here for these areas from that modified budget. And so the first option is, you know what, we don't need that support anymore, or we're not looking to continue with that specific line item from that possibly 5 years ago. You can close that case and we'll move forward. And so you just send us an email and say, I want to close this case, this case, this case. The other option is that you can move the case or the file to 2627, which means that those areas of your application that might have been escalated will come into 2627 to be assessed based off of current guidelines. So that means that it's not going to be assessed with a back to basics lens from years prior. It's going to be assessed under an operational bulletin lens currently. Another option from there is that you may have incurred costs for those areas, and you can provide us a financial statement stating what those expenses were, and if there's a deficit for eligible expenses, we will review it and you potentially may be reimbursed. Stor, I see you've got your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the second option where we moved the application forward to 2627. That depends if the item is still needed within the community, because Jordan's principle overall is needs based. So if the recipient identifies this as escalated item as still needed within the community with a strong rationale, then we can look at it and then move it to 2627, close the old file, and then we can have a new application on file so that we can look at it with the lens of the current operational bulletin. Yeah. Right, Anna?
Perfect. Thank you. I feel like I've talked everyone's ear off for almost an hour now, so I'm gonna take a seat back. If anyone has any questions, I would kind of open this up to being, I'm like really trying to think about what the agenda exactly said. If I'm missing anything, Shannon. But personally, I'd like to open the floor. We've got a couple minutes left, so let us know. Yeah, we can. I'm super over time. I'm sorry.
I think Barry has a question.
Hi, yeah, I was just thinking about our 25-26 report, or sorry, not report, funding. Okay, we received a very late letter for our funding, like in March, when the year was over. So a lot of the things that were requested for that fiscal year, one, did not get done, and two, we held back on spending any money that we requested because I wasn't sure if we had money to do anything like the community visits, and then 2 or 3, the 26-27 funding application pretty much repeated the 25-26 application because some of the things, like I said, did not get done in 25-26 due to no funds. So my question is, like, you know, how would I do that in the report for those line items, like, you know, the community visits and stuff that, you know, I allocated so much money for? Do I just say due to no funding received, or like how would I word that for my report?
So what I would do, like, keep the financial section just focused on what you actually did spend. I
Okay.
don't feel like you need to add in areas and zero them out. Just include what areas you actually spent on. When it
Mhm.
comes to your qualitative portion, so that box at the end, that's where you can write out those barriers. So really let us know, like, due to the late approval, you weren't able to run this, that. You said community visits. Like, write out the different areas exactly that you didn't get to do because of the delay in response. Colleen, I would say too, I'm putting lots of work on you, Dion, but maybe we should have another follow up with Colleen as well, to just talk about 26, 27. If that's okay with you, Colleen.
Okay.
Perfect.
Am I getting bad news?
No, no, no. I just want to make for sure that we're as informed as possible.
Okay.
Just because we have a very big floor here today, I don't like to go too in detail specifically on specific nations and organizations and what they got going on. So I would just say I think a little bit more of a informal one-on-one might be best for your help and for us to understand how to help you.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
I'll send up a phone email as well, Colleen, well, both Colleens, and and we'll schedule a meeting so we can discuss.
Okay. I got you.
Otherwise, if anyone else has any questions, I know we're kind of all over the time zones in Ontario today. So some people might be trying to run off to lunch in 4 minutes, but I'm good to sit here a little bit longer if anyone needs. Go ahead, Ashley.
Sorry, I just wanted to know, I had somebody ask me if they're able to get the samples that you showed us today for the reporting overview. I don't know if that's something that you're allowed to share with us, but I just received an email asking if they are allowed to have that sample that you shared with us today.
For sure. I think, Shannon, I don't know if I sent you all of them, but from the ones that I brought up today, I've got them all open here still. I've got the annual report sample, the reprofiling sample, and the NOD sample. We're looking for those three. Not to out the person who sent the email, okay. but if you're missing anything else, please let me know, and I'll send them over after this.
Yeah, I think it was just the reprofiling one that we had the wrong version of.
Okay.
So I think that would be the only one because I believe we did send out the sample of the report along with the 25-26 template. So yeah, that reprofiling would be great. We could send it all out again as a packet.
Perfect. That'll help us with a lot of individual emails, so thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
It was nice to have you as well, Frida. I'm like super sad now that I'm not going to be here next week. I would have loved to get to see you. Anybody else? I'm not one to, I mean, I say that even though I've definitely been calling out names, but I'm not one to put anyone on the spot. But if anyone has anything specific they want to let us know. Also, I don't know, Dion, maybe it might be helpful for both of us to put our emails in the chat here. Just because if you don't have it, I want to make for sure you do. If you don't feel comfortable to say something here today, send us an email, copy and paste that email into your Outlook or into whatever you use, and feel free to send us a message or a question or a hello. Or maybe you really want to come to our team meeting and share about all the amazing, beautiful things that you do, and we'd be more than happy to have it. It's a great opportunity to get to meet our staff, like Betty was saying. We have had some changes, and we have new people on our team, and everyone gets really stuck in their roles, and we don't always get to see everything that you do. So we'd love to hear about your community from your perspective. Shannon, you got your hand up there. I'll stop yapping about it.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to let Frida know that if you're coming in next week and if Hannah isn't available, if there's anything that we can sit down with you in person and kind of get the ball rolling and then be able to loop them in afterwards, we're more than happy to be able to do that. So shoot us over an email and we can set something up.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. I'll come see you. I'll email you first.
Awesome. If there's any last minute questions before we end the call, now's the chance. Going once. Going twice. Okay, well, if there's no other, oh, Marla, sorry. Sorry, Marla, whenever you're ready, you can come on. I see your hands up. Oh, she didn't mean to do that. Okay, no worries. So yeah, everyone, thank you so much for coming today, and especially to Dion, Hannah, and Stuart. Thank you so much. That was really helpful, and I hope everybody's going to go back and finish all the reporting for July 29th. So we'll see you guys next month, and we'll send out when we get that extra sample from Hannah. I'll send it out to everybody, like as a little follow up from our call today, so that everybody will have it. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone. Have a good day. Oh, Shannon.
Bye. Take care.
I just want to say bye. See everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Good to see you all.
Bye.